Hey everybody, it's Triple J, and welcome back to another episode of Bountiful Bayou here in City Skylines. And today, I thought we want to get to our milestone. We want to get our next milestone of 13,000 population. But I thought it would be good if we took a look at a little bit of public transportation first. So we're starting to get some neighborhoods in now. We kind of have essentially 3 larger neighborhoods, and again, I would like to come through with, you know, some highway barriers, some fences, more trees, kind of fill in sort of how this looks, you know, make this all a little bit more filled in so it feels a little bit more connected. Right now you can kind of see that they're just, you know, 3 very independent neighborhoods, but this still needs to get filled in yet, and obviously we really haven't even begun to zone this really huge residential neighborhood. But until we get sort of our next tile unlock and hit our next milestone, I thought that we would tackle some transportation, because we haven't really talked about it too much, and I think we are going to need to start talking about it, because there's some, you know, modes of transportation that we're going to need to have some sort of infrastructure set up for before we, you know, bus routes are fairly simple. We can have those go up and down a main street, but if we're talking about something more like metro or rail, that's going to be a little bit more in depth, and it's going to cause, you know, some chaos to some of these neighborhoods, because we need to plan for that a little bit more. So I figured we would look at some trains today, because train transportation is one of the more, well, it's a personal opinion, I suppose. To me, I find train to be one of the more challenging modes of transportation in terms of using it well and not having it feel like it's not integrated into the city. Because one of the things that is a little bit of a pet peeve, I guess, that I have with the game in terms of the unlocks, and mostly why, like, when we're streaming on Twitch, when we're doing sort of more creative type of streams, I will do unlock all, because I want to have the ability to build trains right away. And currently, I believe trains aren't even unlocked until... Did we just unlock trains? We did. So at the 8,000 population mark. Now, not saying that an 8,000 population city is going to need public transportation. Oh, one real quick thing here, but let me pivot. As you can see, it looks like it's getting darker out. I added in the unlimited eye candy mod. And what this allows you to do is just sort of change the sun and move things around, and I thought that would be really handy for us to have in the city here. As we start to look at things, it would be an easy way for me to sort of show you guys some nighttime shots or anything like that, or move the sun around to kind of see what a building might look like on the other, you know, with the sun facing a different direction. So but it automatically turns the night cycle on, so there we go. We'll take a look at that more, but it's a really good mod. More for aesthetic purposes, of course. But anyway, back to my point about rail. Now, not saying that an 8,000 population city is going to need rail, but what can happen, and what happens to me all the time, and it happened in this playthrough, is that you kind of can tend to forget that this takes some doing to put in, to implement, and all of a sudden, you know, I think it can get overlooked pretty easily. I guess if you're into trains and that's your main thing, then maybe it won't be overlooked. But for me, sometimes I wait a good long time to do public transportation, because I kind of want to see what the city is going to look like. I want to kind of manage the traffic and figure out where the hotspots are before public transportation is implemented. That's not necessarily a right or a wrong way to do it, I think, but that's kind of how I tend to do it. So trains aren't on the forefront for me, so I kind of have to force myself to remember to put it in. But what can happen is, all of a sudden, you know, you have all of your tiles unlocked, and you have, you know, 50 or 60,000 people, and you've decorated a bunch of areas, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I don't have any rail in here, and I would really like to have some trains going through my city. And then you kind of end up having to sort of do a bigger bulldoze project, sort of a revamp, to sneak in some stations around, and then it might not feel as integrated as you'd like. So I think it'd be important to do that now. So let's take a look at the... Okay, so this is going to be our 9-tile square, essentially. I think, well, we might end up doing it. It's not going to be a perfect square because well, I guess we don't really know yet. We don't really know, so I think indicating where we might want some train stations is good. Now, obviously, train is mostly for much longer routes, right? You're not doing a stop like you would on a metro station, every, 4 or 5 blocks. I would say that a train stop would be sort of maybe a train station out here somewhere that would connect up to a train station here, and then maybe another train station. Well, there would definitely be another train station sort of in our central hub here in the downtown area, and then perhaps depending on if we buy a tile out here or we buy some more tiles down here, we could have like another remote station. But sort of maybe this triangular setup could be good, and then just sort of a rural station that maybe connects up to wherever it is. Because I don't know if it warrants having another station out here. I think we could actually access that somehow, some other way. But I can see that if we expand out this a little bit more, push down a little bit further, that this area could be serviced by an overall train station. And then, obviously, so the way it is right, you're going to want your trains long term. And then what I think we'll do is we'll save the metro for the commercial downtown, because that just makes more sense to me. I don't really see a neighborhood like this having a metro service. Now, if we could have a direct line, there could be like one line that connects to the train station perhaps, or I don't know. But to me, it doesn't... I never usually put metro everywhere. The Sims love it. Your citizens will absolutely love metro. And it can be one of the easier forms to implement, because if you do the underground versions, which we're going to do above ground because they look really cool, but the underground versions are very simple because it's just like a 2x2 square, maybe 3x3, I don't remember, but and then everything else is underground. But I feel like this is a great place to have a train station. So there's a couple options. This little spot here could be a great train station. Now, the issues that I find with rail. Now, if we were to say, let's put it on this road, right? Well, the issue is that we have a road on either side. So we either need to raise the rail immediately to hop over that road, or we could do a little terraforming and have the road go over it. I don't typically like having rail rise up over roads unnecessarily, because in my opinion, the most difficult thing about trains is that, generally speaking, the trains would be there before most of the roads, right? Like if you were having an old train station, not always, of course, but if you were having an old, train station, rail would have been, one of the more prominent forms maybe of transportation, or certainly moving goods about the city. And that's a whole other thing that we're not going to probably get into today, although a cargo station over here would be good if we intend to keep this industrial. But I don't want to tackle too much and make this feel very overwhelming. So for now, but you need to figure out where you want to place it, because sometimes it just doesn't always make the most sense. So what I'm thinking that we do is a train station for that services sort of this general region, I think would be best somewhere right here. Now, what I might do is, I think I could actually keep those, but if this road, or if the highway is coming through here, we have more access points. This gives us a little bit of a gap here to sort of create a little train station hub, I guess you could say. And then what we could do is have, it intersects with two pretty huge arteries, because this artery just stops, right? This road just stops, but this does connect directly to the highway. And then this one actually is the larger one. This connects all the way through and then reconnects with the highway here. So this is a huge intersection, and I think it would make a lot of sense. We also have the campus right here. So if you're heading to school, you can get off the train station and either walk to school, or we can have a bus route that services sort of this area. And it gives us some flexibility to have the rail shoot across the river here. So I think that is going to be our best bet. So let me... I'm actually going to... I don't know why this isn't upgraded. Let's upgrade that real quick. That just destroyed that path. Turn anarchy. And I'm going to also turn off toggle road collision, which basically means that you're toggling off any sort of collision with assets, because it was, as you can see, it was going to delete the fence there. Awesome. I will turn that back on, because generally speaking, you kind of want to know or have that on for certain things. All right. Now, the only thing that I don't want to do is, this is not set in stone yet. I don't know if we're going to have this sort of diamond-y intersection. Let me move these rocks. Oh, there's actually several of them. Oh, never mind. It's just up. Oh, very strange. Okay. Well, let's try to recreate that. I like that rock there. So let's recreate that a little bit. And then flatten this. Shift this rock around. I can just raise that up. Cool. Yeah. Because, yeah, I think actually this just shoots straight through. I think it does. I was going to have it sort of meander a little bit, but I think it can just shoot right straight through. So let's do that. We have a little bit of money, and we're making a good profit, so I think that it's perfectly fine to do this. Now, I'm going to use this little ridge here to our advantage. I know we're pivoting. I said trains, but this is Skylines. You guys know. You guys know by now. All right, so I'm going to use this little ridge to our advantage. Okay. Because I don't know what's going to be moving through that waterway yet. And I want to make sure we have clearance for any boats that we might have coming through the harbor here. Kill that connection. Turn on snapping. Bring that up. And we do have this whole tile. So let's do... Might not actually be as high as I want it, but let's go up to... How does that look? 12? I'm not certain that's high enough. Do we have a ship line that goes through here? No. The ship line comes over here. Okay. Right. All right. So that's fine. So that means that we will just have sort of some ferry activity and perhaps some fishing boats. But that is definitely enough clearance for a ferry. It's not enough clearance for a cruise liner, but... So I'm going to do... Yeah, I kind of want those 3. Like that. And then I don't know how that's going to be yet, so I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to try to mimic this on the other side. So 12. Oh, interesting. So what I'm going to do, let's go like this. I'm going to grab that one actually. And I'm going to align heights with that. There. Make sure that those are identical. Increase that slope a little bit. There might be something underneath here that the terrain might have been shifted on one side. So that's why that was happening. But let's see if we can now mirror. You're not going to let me mirror. Really? Well, then let me try it this way. Not a problem. I'm just going to need to sort of take this and shift it over with move it. I'm not entirely sure why that is like that, but no big deal. That's why move it is such a great tool. And then I'm going to do this to ensure that these are all aligned. And I forgot that one. Cool. Raise that up a little bit. Great. And that works for me. Actually, I'm just going to do that. And then, just in case people need to go there for now, we'll do that bit. Make sure that these are all going the right direction. Okay. So then, when it comes to... I mean, here's the thing. I'm okay with having this sort of pretty simple diamond interchange like this when it comes to, I don't want to say this is a rural neighborhood, but just a not as busy, I guess, you know, sort of smaller-ish town. Yeah, it's not the prettiest thing. How big is this? That's 12 units? Yeah. Okay. And then we just sort of connect it up. Now this side. Well, I guess it depends if we want to make that symmetrical or not. What if we did something like this? And that slope should be okay. Just to mix it up a little bit. I think that still looks pretty nice though. But, you know, looks like the road was truly built around the sort of landscape. You know, what already exists. And I think that still looks kind of cool, right? Now, this is going to just create a very basic traffic light here, so we're going to have to kind of monitor to see how this goes. You know, this might not... you know, diamonds aren't super scalable when it comes to traffic management, but for now, I think it should be okay. So, the one thing I don't want to do here is when connecting this train line up is I don't want to have a connection point here because we have a light here, a light here, and this is all on-off traffic. I want to make sure that that is, you know, even this intersection, that is absolutely as close as I want to get to this intersection. So, let's go. And, I actually think here is going to be our best bet. And I think I want to make this a one-way track, now that I'm looking at it. Just for efficiency. So let's have the road go up by about 15. then reconnect up there. Make sure this is a little bit more flat. And then we're going to plop the train station right there. Okay. And then what that gives us, by putting it on the outside road like that, gives us plenty of play with the actual track itself. It's going to need water. Okay, let's just do this whole side here. Because I think we're going to need... Again, we've talked about this. I think this needs to be revamped or just rethought through. I don't know if across from this commercial we want this massive industrial area. However, it actually could work to our advantage because we could put a commercial, or I'm sorry, an industrial, like a cargo rail yard. And that could service, you know, we could have another cargo rail yard, I don't know, somewhere in these services, could have it run directly to our downtown, you know, serving the commercial districts. That's another tricky thing. Cargo is a whole other animal because just the amount of trucks that get spawned from the cargo stations is quite something. Quite something. So inside of here, you know, we can do something simple. We could put a couple more commercial buildings, or we could put it in a little bit of a park. You know, you get off the train station. Let's say you're coming in from out of town. You know, what do you want to be looking at? You want to enter, you know, like a nice looking area. So let's use... I really love this fantastic fountain. It's such a great asset. Of course, it's not centered, but we can do that. Now, in terms of connecting this up, so you have an option now with your train stations to allow intercity trains or not, meaning that if you click this off, it will not, if you are connected to an outside line. So where is our closest rail line? That's another thing. Do we have rail on this map? We might not even have an outside connection to rail on this map. And it looks like we don't. And so that's fine. So we don't even have to worry about that. But what that allows you to do is, if this was connected to an outside train line, we wouldn't be able to... that means that trains would come from other regions, I guess. It says intercity, but basically like other regions. From the outside and drop off passengers. If you uncheck that, they will not stop there. They will, however, still pass through it if that is the only way they have to go through, or the quickest way they have to go through. So something to keep in mind. But for now, we'll just do an internal lines kind of surrounding our city, and that can make it a little bit easier, a little bit more simple. So if we have a cargo station down here, we can have a cargo station up here, maybe at the back side somewhere of our city, and then it can move goods back and forth that way, and maybe keep some trucks off of our highways, which could be really good. So anyway, we don't have anything to connect this to yet, but what I want us to start thinking about is how it's going to be connected over here. So we need another train station stop. Now, I would like it to be sort of more... to me, it feels like it should be a little bit more of a rural side. So over on this area feels like a really good idea, because if we have any residential down here, you know, because train stations sometimes are inside of cities and sometimes they're just sort of a little bit right on the outskirts, right? Like you hop onto the train, but the city, you know, you got to take a bus to get, you know, inside the neighborhoods. Generally speaking, they're not right inside of like a neighborhood. They might be, you know, passenger rail could be a little bit, but generally speaking, not. Or at least in, you know, where I live, not as much. So I think this is fine because it's kind of right off the highway over here, but in this direction, it feels like this is sort of where it should go. which means that we need to establish and figure out where this road is going to connect to. And I think what we're going to need to do is give ourselves a little bit more land to work with. I'm going to try to keep the same general shape of what was going on here, but I need a little bit more land to bring this road in. That's okay. Because I think this is going to come down, and then potentially we roundabout, and it splits. It splits off. So maybe even a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. Get rid of some of these trees so we can kind of see what we're doing. And we'll have a little bit of flooding, but that will be just fine. Okay, so if this comes down, this is pretty high up. Yeah, it's 18 meters. Well, let's go down to 9 meters, 8 meters out, down to 9, and then another 8 down to flat. It's kind of steep, but I think it'll be okay. And then what we'll do here is we will create another roundabout. And 5x5 I think is okay. We're only going to have 3 connections on this roundabout. Yeah, we're only going to have 3 connections because I don't foresee us going out to these islands. You know, potentially if we guys start adding mods or a little bit more, yeah, we might be able to get out to there. But anyway. Actually, wait a minute. Am I an idiot? Do we have the 25 tile mod? Am I not playing with the 25 tile mod? Okay. I don't think, are we? Gosh, I have to be honest with you guys. I don't even remember if I have that mod installed or if we were just going to do a 9 tile deal. My head tells me that we were going to do a 9 tile thing, but I honestly don't remember. Okay, well, if we do that, then everything I just mentioned about where these train stations might be dumb, but I think, okay, even if we do the 25 tile system, I think this will still work. Gosh, I really don't remember. I have no idea. I don't even remember. Oh my goodness gracious. That's terrible. Okay, so if we put a station here, that is a good distance. I like that amount of distance because I feel like you can, you know, supplement with other forms of transportation there. But if you just want to get on that long path, right? You want to make that journey. I think that's crossing 3 tiles like that feels very sufficient to me. So we could always have another one down here, but again, I don't feel like this would be huge because we are, you know, kind of operating on these islands type of thing. So I don't foresee us having more than one sort of major city center right here. And then, you know, if anything, it's just sort of more neighborhood, little townships like this size. And this might get a little bit bigger, right? We do have a university in here. This might get a little bit bigger. But anyway, let's plop this in. Oh my goodness gracious. Now again, I think I'm going to want sort of a one-way system. So what I can do, yeah, that actually could be, I don't know, that may also feel like overkill. Get rid of some of these trees. I'm just gonna give us the integrity of this roundabout here. Because what I could do is have, I think if I could put a road in there. Or I could just eyeball it. Let's see, if I did that. And that's pretty close. And then I can grab from here. Or I bet I can move it to move those roads. That. Yeah, because then once those cross streets are out, I don't think we'll have that tearing. Okay, and then what will happen? Get rid of that. Let me flatten this. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is make a straight. I kind of don't have... What's my straight that goes across this? I'd like to line up maybe with the border a little bit. But also... Life isn't perfect. I might have to curve that a little bit quicker. And I understand that's a little bit wider, but let's see here. Kind of, but let me bring this straight down so it's not as... Yeah, that's gonna be better. And then that's just gonna get wider, and I want that to be wider because I want to put like maybe some fence and stuff in there. But also I just don't like how it looks. I guess I can still put a line of trees in there just fine. Oh, I see what the problem was. The problem was that. There we go. Okay. So that will go in. And this will be our out. I think that'll be really cool. So then I'll have this like do a little bit of a turnaround. We'll have maybe a couple cross streets in there, and then we'll put the train station in right here. But wow, everyone, that is gonna have to do it for this episode, though. Boy, time just flies. But we got some infrastructure things done. We started talking a little bit. We did a lot of talking, but you know, we did some talking, important conversations about public transportation and rail. And you know, for the next video, I will actually figure out if we are intending to do 25 tiles or not, because I forgot. But you know what? I guess I'm just a human. I don't know. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I would appreciate it. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in the next video here in Bountiful Bayou in City Skylines. Bye, everybody.